if I told you that the strongest battles in your life aren't happening around you, but inside your own mind? Everyday storms rise, doubts surround you, and obstacles seem to grow taller. Yet in history, there was a man who faced far worse wars that shook nations, betrayals sharper than any blade plagues that swallowed entire cities, and still his mind remained unshakable. That man was Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who ruled millions, yet understood a profound truth: the only empire truly worth conquering is the empire within yourself. He mastered a set of 8 brutal Stoic laws forged through chaos, pressure, and pain. Laws that turn fear into discipline, stress into clarity, and suffering into strength. And today you are about to uncover them one by one. Because these 8 laws are not just ancient wisdom. They are weapons, tools you can use to silence overthinking, destroy self-doubt, and build a mindset that no storm can break. Stay until the end, because one of these laws will completely shift the way you see the world. This is the path to an unshakable mind, and it begins right now. Law 1. You are entitled to nothing. What if I told you that everything you think the world owes you was never yours to begin with? This is the first brutal Stoic law Marcus Aurelius lived by. You are entitled to nothing. Marcus wrote, "Expect nothing, and you will never be disappointed, because suffering begins not with pain, but with expectation." Picture this: a young Roman soldier once asked Marcus, "Why do the gods treat us unfairly?" Marcus replied, "Life has never promised fairness, but it has promised opportunity." Modern research echoes this truth. Harvard studies show that people with low entitlement are 43% more resilient under stress. When you expect nothing, everything becomes a gift. When you demand nothing, you take responsibility for everything. Say it with me: no one owes me anything. And that makes me powerful. Breathe. Reset your mind. The world does not owe you success. It does not owe you love or recognition. But the moment you release the belief that you deserve these things, you stop waiting and you start building. Marcus Aurelius faced plagues, betrayal, and unbearable pressure, yet he never wrote "Why me?" Instead, he reminded himself the universe's change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Now pause, reset again. Think of something you feel you deserve but haven't received. A promotion, approval, a chance. Imagine letting go of that expectation, not giving up, but taking ownership of the path forward. This is power. This is freedom. This is Stoicism. Each morning repeat, "I am owed nothing. I create my own outcomes." Because entitlement makes you wait, but responsibility makes you unstoppable. And once you embrace this first law, you unlock the doorway to the second, and that one cuts even deeper. Let's go there next. La Surlitoire 2, control only. What you can control. Imagine an empire collapsing under the weight of a deadly plague. 5 million lives lost, panic spreading through every street of Rome. In the center of this storm stood Marcus Aurelius, and yet he remained calm. Why? Because he lived by the second brutal Stoic law: control only what you can control. Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." His advisors begged him for answers. "Can you stop the plague?" Marcus replied, "I cannot control the disease, but I can control my decisions, my courage, and my leadership." Modern science supports this. Research from the University of Toronto shows that people who focus on controllable factors reduce anxiety by 35%. When your mind stops drowning in what you cannot change, it finally acts on what you can. Say this with me: reset your mind. My peace begins where my control ends. Breathe. We waste so much energy trying to control the uncontrollable: other people, outcomes, the past, the future. Marcus didn't try to control the world, he controlled his response to it. He prepared himself each morning. Today I will meet people who are selfish, ungrateful, and arrogant. Not to complain, but to strengthen his response. Now think of something in your life you desperately want to control, but can't. Draw a line around it. Outside the line is not yours. Inside the line is yours. Feel the clarity. Practice the 2 lists method. Write what you control. Write what you don't. Release the second list. Because this is where Stoic power lives, not in changing the world, but in mastering your reactions to it. And once you understand this, you're ready for the next law. Let's go deeper. Law 3, your emotions are your responsibility. There is a moment, small, silent, nearly invisible, when everything in your life can change. It is the moment before you react. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than anyone when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, realize this, and you will find strength." This is the third brutal Stoic law. Your emotions are your responsibility. Marcus once faced betrayal from a trusted advisor who leaked military plans to the enemy. Thousands of soldiers suffered because of this treachery. When the traitor was brought before Marcus, the room braced for anger. Instead, Marcus simply asked, "Tell me what suffering inside you led you to this action." No rage, no loss of control, just mastery. Modern science agrees. A Stanford study shows that pausing just a few seconds before reacting reduces emotional regret by over 70%. So say it with me, I control my reaction. Nothing controls me. Breathe, reset. Stoicism teaches that you don't control events, you control your interpretation of them. Two people can face the same insult. One erupts, one walks away. Emotions are not commands, they are choices. Marcus said, "If someone provokes you, turn inward. Ask which part of you allowed the provocation." Now imagine someone attacks you online. Your instinct wants to fight back. But imagine pausing, observing the emotion instead of becoming it. This is not suppression. It is leadership of the self. According to the APA, 90% of conflict escalation comes from uncontrolled emotional reactions, not the problem itself. Master your emotions and you master your life. Practice the Stoic 3-second rule. Pause. Name the emotion. Choose your response. Naming emotions reduces their force by up to 40%. Marcus chose calm not because the traitor deserved forgiveness, but because Marcus deserved inner peace. The person who angers you controls you, but you were born to control yourself. And now comes the natural next step. Once you command your emotions, you are ready for law. 4. Let's dive deeper. Law 4, hardship is training. There was a winter when the Roman Empire nearly collapsed under a brutal storm. Soldiers froze standing up. Supplies vanished. Enemies circled like wolves. Advisors told Marcus Aurelius, "The situation is hopeless." Marcus stepped into the snow, stood beside his trembling soldiers, and said, "The obstacle is the test." This is the fourth brutal Stoic law, hardship is training. Marcus believed adversity forged him. He wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Reset your mind with me. My struggle is my strength in disguise. Breathe. Science agrees. A study in Nature Human Behavior found that people who face early adversity become 61% more resilient. Marcus didn't need research, he lived it. Every hardship was shaping him. Imagine the emperor refusing shelter, choosing to stand in the storm with his men. One soldier later wrote, "The cold felt like a challenge, not a curse." That is the power of reframing adversity. Reset again. Say softly, "This is happening for me." Neuroscience from the University of Wisconsin shows that reframing hardship activates the prefrontal cortex, the center of strength and clarity. Your brain literally becomes stronger. Marcus never asked, "Why me?" He asked, "How is this shaping me?" Practice the hardship reframe method, label it as training. Extract the lesson. Ask who you are becoming because of it. For 7 days, try this and watch your identity evolve. Picture Marcus standing in the snow, breathing in the pain, growing stronger with every icy gust. This is the Stoic path. And now you are ready for law 5. This next law will pierce deeper than all before it. Law 5, you could die today. Let that guide you. There is a truth Marcus Aurelius repeated every morning, a truth most people run from. You could die today, not as fear, but as focus. During the Antonine Plague, Marcus knelt beside a dying 16-year-old soldier and whispered, "Life is not measured by length, but by depth." That night the boy died. Marcus returned to his chamber and wrote, "Do not act as if you were destined to live forever. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. Reset your mind with me, I could die today. So how will I live? Most people waste decades postponing their lives. A global study shows humans lose 27 years to distraction, but Stoics refuse to drift. Marcus repeated, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and what you think." Mortality creates power. Harvard research shows that reflecting briefly on death increases focus by 23%, gratitude by 37%, and meaningful action by over 50%. Death doesn't make you fearful, it makes you awake. Marcus once told a boastful general, "The future is a story you tell yourself to avoid the present." The general died that night. His promises died with him. Reset again. Knowing I will die makes me live fully. Use the memento mori review. If today were my last, would I be proud? What did I waste time on? What will I do differently if I'm given tomorrow? Picture Marcus watching the funeral flames rise, whispering, "While I still breathe, I must live with purpose." Remembering death is not darkness, it is direction. And now you're ready for law. 6. This is where true power begins. Law. 6. Your mind is your kingdom. There is a throne more powerful than any empire ever built. A throne more sacred than Rome, more enduring than marble, more unshakable than stone. It isn't guarded by armies. It isn't shaped by politics. It isn't influenced by applause or destroyed by criticism. This throne is your mind. And this is the sixth brutal Stoic law. Your mind is your kingdom. Rule it or be ruled by it. Let me take you into a moment in Marcus Aurelius' life that reveals the true power of this law. During a period of political unrest, rumors began spreading like wildfire throughout Rome. Advisors rushed into the imperial chamber with panic written across their faces. "Emperor," they whispered, "the Senate speaks against you. Some claim you have lost control of Rome." Marcus unrolled the scroll, glanced at the accusations, and then something astonishing happened. He closed it, took a slow breath, and whispered to himself, "The world outside cannot disturb the peace I keep within." Pause. Reset with me. Say quietly, "My mind is my kingdom." Because Marcus understood a truth most people today have forgotten. You may control your career, your home, your income, but if someone else controls your mind, you control nothing. Now let's step into the world you live in today, a world more mentally invasive than anything Marcus faced. You are bombarded with 35,000 thoughts a day, hit with notifications every 6 minutes, fed information your brain never evolved to process, manipulated by algorithms, engineered to hijack attention, and compared against millions of people at once through screens. Neuroscientists say the modern mind receives 10 times more stimulation per day than the human brain did 1 century ago. 10 times. So here's the reality. If you don't rule your mind, something else will. A news headline, a stranger's comment, your past, your fears, your insecurities, your inner critic, your habits, your trauma. This is why Marcus wrote, "Your mind will be taken if you do not take it back." Reset again, 45 seconds. Say it, "I protect the gate of my mind." Now let me tell you a story Marcus wrote about in his journals. He visited a Roman prison and met a man shackled to the wall, hands bruised, legs, chained, body broken. Yet the man radiated calm. Marcus asked him, "How do you remain peaceful in chains?" The prisoner lifted his head and said something unforgettable. "My body is a prisoner. My mind is free." Marcus carried that lesson for the rest of his life, and he understood. A man with a liberated mind is never truly imprisoned. A man with a captured mind is never truly free. Modern psychology calls this cognitive sovereignty, the ability to command your thoughts rather than be commanded by them. Harvard researchers found that individuals who consciously direct their thoughts experience 35% lower stress, 52% higher focus, 40% greater long-term motivation, and drastically improved emotional stability. Stoics didn't need data to validate this. They knew the mind is the source of all suffering and all strength. Marcus wrote, "Today I escaped anxiety, not because the world changed, but because I changed the meaning I gave it." Pause. Reset. Say softly, "I choose my thoughts. I choose my interpretation." Now imagine your mind as a great Roman palace. Inside it are many chambers: the chamber of fear, the chamber of anger, the chamber of peace, the chamber of courage, the chamber of doubt, the chamber of clarity. Most people wander through these rooms unconsciously, pulled by impulses and old emotional patterns. But Stoics choose which rooms to enter. Marcus wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Meaning, if you fill your mind with fear, fear becomes your identity. If you fill it with doubt, doubt becomes your lens. But if you fill it with courage, discipline, clarity, you become unshakable. Let's reset again. Say quietly, I decide which thoughts enter my mind. Let's turn this philosophy into training. The Stoic Gatekeeper. A mental discipline for the next 24 hours. Imagine a guard standing at the gate of your mind. Every thought must answer three questions. Is this thought useful? Is this thought true? Is this thought mine or planted by someone else? If a thought does not pass the test, it does not enter. It does not rule you. It has no throne in your kingdom. Try this for one day and your mental life will begin to transform. Now imagine this: Marcus's empire could fall. His advisors could betray him. His enemies could rise. His armies could weaken. But as long as he ruled the kingdom of his mind, he remained undefeated, untouchable, unbroken. And this is where the real power of Stoicism lies. Not in controlling the world, but in controlling the inner world that interprets everything. Reset one final time. Say it slowly. Nothing outside of me rules me. I rule myself. And now you understand the essence of Law 6. But we are not finished. Because ruling the mind requires one more ability, an ability that Marcus Aurelius mastered more deeply than any ruler alive: silence. Not just the absence of noise, but the presence of inner stillness. And that leads us into the next brutal Stoic law. Law 7, silence is strength. There is a kind of power the world has forgotten, a power without noise, without force, without display. A power that does not shout, does not argue, does not explain itself. A power that simply exists, calm, steady, unbreakable. This is the seventh brutal Stoic law: silence is strength. Marcus Aurelius understood this more deeply than any ruler of his time. He wrote, silence is a lesson in itself. Not the silence of fear, but the silence of mastery. The silence of someone who knows they cannot be moved by noise. Let me take you into a moment that reveals the true force of this silence. During a heated debate in the Roman Senate, a senator named Claudius stood up and publicly insulted Marcus Aurelius. He called him weak, indecisive, unworthy of command. The entire chamber froze. Advisors braced themselves. Soldiers gripped their swords. Everyone expected an eruption. But Marcus said nothing. He simply sat still, breathing, observing. His silence grew heavier than any words he could have spoken. Claudius, expecting a verbal battle, stumbled over his own speech. The Senate shifted in Marcus's favor, not because he argued, but because he didn't. Later that night, Marcus wrote, "The best reply to anger is silence." And he meant it. Silence unsettles those who depend on conflict. Silence exposes the weak and reveals the strong. So let's pause for a moment. Reset with me. Say quietly, my silence is my power. Modern neuroscience confirms this ancient truth. Studies from the University of Pavia show that just 2 minutes of silence reduce stress more effectively than relaxing music. Harvard researchers found that intentional silence improves decision-making by more than 40%. Silence isn't emptiness, it is clarity. Silence gives the mind space to rise above emotion and return to strategy. Noise, on the other hand, is chaos disguised as confidence. People argue loudly because their ideas are fragile. People attack quickly because their ego is insecure. People must be heard because they do not listen to themselves. As Marcus wrote, you become stronger when you stop needing to prove your strength. Reset again. Say softly, I choose silence over reaction. Marcus once praised a Roman soldier known for extraordinary discipline. He never boasted, never argued, never defended himself. When asked how he remained calm, he replied, "My actions speak for me. Words are wasted breath." Marcus admired him deeply, because silence is not passivity, silence is direction. It means choosing not to waste energy on things beneath your purpose. Imagine applying this in your own life. Someone mocks you, someone provokes you, someone tries to drag you into a pointless argument, and instead of reacting, you remain still, grounded, silent. That is real power. Think now of how many conflicts in your life were created by speaking too quickly, the message you sent too fast, the argument you escalated, the reaction you regretted. The American Psychological Association reports that 78% of emotional conflicts escalate because of immediate verbal responses. Imagine how much chaos could be avoided if you pause before speaking. Silence is not avoidance. Silence is strategy. Let's reset again. Say it slowly. My silence is my shield. The Stoics practiced what Marcus called the intentional pause. Before responding to anything emotional, they waited not forever, just long enough to regain control. Marcus wrote, "Control your tongue, lest it control you." Here is your practice, the Stoic 10-second rule. When someone provokes you, breathe. Pause for 10 seconds. Let silence clear the emotion. Respond only if necessary, and often it won't be. Harvard research shows this tiny delay increases emotional control by more than 60%. 10 seconds can protect your peace, your dignity, your relationships, your future. As Marcus grew older, he realized something profound. People destroy themselves not because of what they hear, but because of what they say. Words spoken in anger cannot be taken back. Words spoken from ego cannot be undone. Words spoken without thought become lifelong regret. But silence never humiliates you. Silence never harms you. Silence never exposes your weakness. Silence protects you. Silence strengthens you. Silence reveals you. Marcus wrote, "Let your actions speak. Let your mind stay still." So let's reset one final time. Say softly, "My silence makes me strong." But silence alone is not the end of Stoic discipline. Even if your words are controlled and your reactions are calm, there remains one final test, the foundation of all Stoic philosophy: virtue, integrity, character. This leads us to the eighth and final brutal Stoic law: live virtuously even when no one sees. And that law will tie together everything you've learned on this journey. Law res ilwan 8, live virtuously. Even when no one sees, silence gives you strength, but silence alone is not the final measure of a Stoic. Even if you master your reactions and steady your mind, there remains a battlefield hidden from the world. A place where applause disappears, where no one is watching, where only your conscience remains. And this is where the eighth and final Stoic law begins: live virtuously even when no one sees. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The true worth of a man is measured by what he does when no one is watching." Virtue to him was not a performance. It was not public morality. It was a private contract with oneself, a promise written in silence. During the darkest nights of the Antonine Plague, Marcus often walked through Rome disguised in a simple cloak so no one would recognize him. He visited orphans, carried bread to starving families, and comforted dying soldiers who had no one left. No one saw him. No praise followed him. And when an advisor asked why he did such things in secret, he simply replied, "If virtue requires witnesses, it is not virtue." Pause with me. Reset. Say softly, "Character is who I am when no one sees." Because every day you face choices no one else will know about: whether you stay disciplined when no one checks, whether you tell the truth when lying is easier, whether you show kindness when there is no reward. These invisible decisions shape your soul more than any public action. Modern research shows that people who act from inner values rather than outside approval experience deeper happiness and stronger self-respect. The mind always knows whether you honored your own standards or betrayed them. Marcus wrote, "Look well into yourself. There lies the source of strength." And he lived these words. One evening, a servant confessed to breaking an expensive statue. Terrified, he expected punishment. But Marcus simply said, "Your mistake is forgiven. Now go do better." No performance, no witnesses, just quiet integrity. Reset again. Say it, "I am my own witness." We live in a world obsessed with image, but Stoicism teaches that character is built in solitude through unseen discipline, uncelebrated honesty, and unspoken kindness. Empires fall, wealth fades, reputations shift, but virtue remains. So let this final truth guide you: live in alignment with your values even when no one sees, because the person who is virtuous in private becomes unshakable in public. If this message ignited something inside you, then like, share, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom. And make sure to subscribe to Making Life Better, the place where your strongest mindset is forged. Now comment below. I will build an unshakable mind. And for this video, I want you to comment one viral word, a word that represents the entire Stoic transformation, a word that declares your commitment. Comment this single word: unshakable. Your new chapter starts now.